Hello, and welcome again to the JVDC's The Entrepreneur's Journey. And if you're joining us for the first time as we're streaming live, welcome. It's great to have you. And if you're coming back, it's great to have you again. Um, just so those of you who are joining in for the first time can get an idea of what this program is about, the Entrepreneur's Journey is an it's a feature where we take a local entrepreneur, a Jamaican entrepreneur, the icons in the making, and we highlight their story. We look at their the things that we can extract some lessons from, the high points, the low points, and we do it such that the rest of us who are either existing or potential entrepreneurs can get some education, some inspiration, and just see ourselves and see what it's like on this path of the entrepreneur's journey. Today, I have with me a young entrepreneur, and when I say young, I mean young in age. Yeah, I'm still qualified as a youth. And I'm perhaps also young-ish in the entrepreneurial journey in the stage where he's at. His name is Conrad Mathison, and he is the managing director of Pixel Perfect Jamaica. Welcome, Conrad. Conrad, where did Conrad go?
Good afternoon. How are
Hey.
you? I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm not glad anyway. I'm here.
Okay, almost. This is like your third attempt at giving me or David a heart
No,
attack.
no, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Hi, how you do?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. I'm happy to be here to share this story and to empower other Jamaicans to stick it out in a time like this, especially.
Yes. So it says here, if I'm just going to read a little bit from this profile I have of you, that you received the Prime Minister's Youth Award for Excellence in Entrepreneur. Is this in 2017? And this is because of your experience and engagement in engaging consumers via digital social media and mobile channels. And you've worked with some big companies. Tell us before we get into those little details, tell us exactly what does Pixel Perfect Limited do?
All right. So Pixel Perfect Limited has been going through many transitions over the year. We started out early 2011, thereabout. And in about 2014, 2015, went heavily into digital marketing. And now we're into what we call digital transformation. So what we do is help brands that are not clearly defined in terms of how they're going to use digital media to either make money or connect with their customers or even just engage their audiences in meaningful ways online is part of the thing that we do. So what we'll do is companies right now, especially during COVID, a couple of our clients, they called us to say, hey, we're not going to make any money because our stores are closed. How can we make money? And we'll help them get e-commerce ready. Also help them with some of the logistics setup so that they can deliver to their customers. So we are part of that kind of setup. We also do artificial intelligence where people who, they won't have people in their offices now. So we'll give them some kind of system to automate the conversations with their customers. And then when it's reached a very high level, then we get it to a human to answer. So those are some of the high level technology that we're working on at this time right here in Jamaica. And it's been a really good journey for us over the last couple of years.
So you're telling me, Conrad, that in Jamaica, we are using artificial intelligence already?
Yeah, so from 2017, when we won the first award, yes, when I won the Prime Minister Youth Award, we launched the Champs Bot, which is parents were able to get updates about their children at Champs while being at work per school or per child. So you could just put in, I'm following Casey, and you don't have to be at Champs. You could send you a notification to say, this person ran this race, they placed fourth. This person ran that race from Casey, came first. And we did that. And then after that, a couple of awards came, national awards, TIC award, UTech award for those technology that we worked on early days, because we didn't use something off the shelf that was out there. We actually built it internally.
Wow, that is impressive. What do you call this new area? Digital what?
Digital transformation. So what we do
Digital.
is transformation. So what we do is we help brands transform to take advantage of the technologies that are out there so that they can become more efficient, they can reduce their cost, or they can raise their revenue. We still do the marketing part, which is still, we're still very well known for that. So we do a lot of great marketing campaigns for brands across the nation, and we're very well known for that part as well. But part of it that we have been known for is that, okay, we sit you down and we say, this is what is needed, and this is how we're going to help you to get to this digital native, these young people that are on their phones all the time, that you're not capturing through traditional means. This is how we're going to help you to get to that point. And sometimes a short process and sometimes a very long process.
Well, I can imagine right now, digital transformation is something that is in high demand. Um, Talking about the need to transition to
Yeah.
the
Yes.
digital space. So, have you been getting a lot of calls?
But COVID is such a touchy time in COVID, where, you know, people are kind of like, my clients are panicking in different ways, you know, and they kind of want to know what's the best way. And really and truly, it's been a very busy time for us actually coming out of this, because we had to button down and help our clients. One of the things that I love for my team was that during this time, they were very problem solving, they were solution oriented, to find ways to help our clients come up with something for them to engage in meaningful ways. And I thought that was a very important thing. And I want to encourage all the other small businesses that another part of it is that we had to go through a digital transformation ourselves as a company. Even though we were digital, we had to become more efficient digitally. So we were very good at it initially, but we also had to also think, how can we manage everything, almost every part of our process internally? Because, you know, my staff kind of like feel comfortable being at home now, a little bit too comfortable. So it would be good for small businesses to kind of start thinking to themselves, okay, this is where we are. Can I actually have a balance of some people coming to work and some people working from home? What's that new future looking like? So that's also something that we have to start thinking about actually for ourselves. So we actually have to go through a transformation ourselves, saying, what if we have to stay home for 6 more months? What would that look like?
I love that. You say something that, you know, I'm assuming you mean as a country, need to be thinking about that, because it's already happening globally. You say Google and Amazon and all these different places are already saying, hey, people don't, I think that's who people are saying, we don't have to come back to work if you know, you can stay home, you can choose to stay home indefinitely, especially one of the companies. You don't
Yeah.
have to come in now. So I love that you are it sounds like you're at that space where you could say, hey, my team does not need to come into a physical location and we can be quite productive.
Right. Well, I
Anyway.
would say we are we're a team that loves our own process, and anything we sell to our clients is something that we believe in as well. So what we had to do is, we have been trying it for some time. We have people outside of the Jamaicans that are outside of the country that work with us, that we have been using, and we use a lot of digital technology to kind of connect everybody over the period of time. And I thought it was very important that we maybe now scale it to every staff member. So there are team members that maybe have to go out to another country for reasons. They get married to somebody and move to another country, and we kept them. We said, okay, well, okay, if you have to move, you can stay. And we started that with 1 or 2. And now that system that we had put in place for 1 or 2 is now with almost every team member. So it has been a very important journey for us as well.
Wow, so you're a global company.
Well, we're trying to be, you know, and it's always the ambition of a Jamaican company, to start thinking that borders are no longer the space. It's no longer a very important place, because talent can be found anywhere through technology, right? So if you can use technology, you could have a very large business through just connecting resources, full-time staff, part-time staff, consultants from all over the world to bolster your strength. I think Jamaicans have been locked in to the thought of, okay, we only have this set of talent locally and that's only what we can provide. But when we realized the needs that our customers were having, we had to look. We were advertising for one post for nearly 9 months and we couldn't get anybody in that specific role. We had to go regionally to start seeing, is there a Jamaican somewhere in the region, maybe doing some in university or something that is getting themselves ready that could do an internship with us. So when they come back to Jamaica, they would have a full-time job with us. So that's the kind of global thinking that talent is everywhere. And we need to start saying, let's look for our local talent first anywhere across the world. So it's a very important mindset as we go forward.
I love that. I love that. Any issues with, and when I say issues, it doesn't necessarily mean a negative thing, but anything come up from your, in terms of diversity matters from this global or expansive approach?
Explain what you mean by the diversity.
So it has been recommended or suggested in the area of human resources that having a diverse team is very beneficial to creativity, and especially with the kind of work that you do. And there's a controversial side to it, as in how to manage all of the differences because of whether it's culture, context that creates different nuances and so on. Anything that's what I mean.
No, that's a beautiful point for me actually. Culture is number one to us, like number one. Like it's even we believe that with the right kind of culture and strategy and culture kind of plays a very important role. We are very people-centric. So we have what we call change managers as one of our board members that actually help us with coming up with a plan to engage our team members. So our team members are multi-talented in different ways, very diverse groups, different backgrounds, different styles of working, and we had to find.
What about gender?
Yes, yeah. Gender. So
do you have a lot of female? Do you have like a fair balance, or you mainly have males?
No. So we started out heavily a male-dominated company, and then we were very clear about what we can do. So I would say to you, in our tech team, which you normally don't expect, we have females on our technology team. That's a very important part, and the person that is actually working on the artificial intelligence is a female.
Yay!
You would take such a techie job in Jamaica to be in a female to be in that role, because it's normally, so we really don't, we are not biased. We are about, right now I actually think we have more females than males. We didn't start out like that in very key roles. Yes, we actually have female dominated company.
Now. Okay.
Well,
how large is your team? How large is your team?
We're going around maybe about 20.
That's a good size.
Yeah, we're growing. It's a very, between all the different types of roles. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So I see you doing work. You got the Prime Minister's Youth Award in Excellency. I see that you're also having speaking engagements and so on. And mentioning that your team is now predominantly female, do you seek to do any outreach or work that pulls more females or even young people per se into this STEM area? Because
it's a very important point. We have a strong internship program. It's very competitive to get in, and normally what we do is to try to make sure it's a very and our internship program has gotten in a lot of females over the last couple of months. So we normally go out and search the space and see where we can find the best, both young males or females, in any role that can shadow a senior member for a period of time. So sadly, this summer doesn't seem to provide that hands-on experience that we normally do, but that would be a very important place. So we have a strong internship program. I would recommend to a lot of small businesses that being a coach is a very important thing, not a boss and not a lead and not a boss and not a like businessman, but when you're small, you have to be a coach. So you have to figure out you won't be able to buy and get all the best talent on the market. Sometimes you have to grow the talent. And it's a very important part of of surviving, especially in Jamaica, that, you know, talent is expensive, you know, for what we make and stuff like that. So it'll be very good if you start out even first year, second year students with the plan that within a year, 2 years, they will be ready. So there are people in my company now that we got first year, second year university that we know they weren't going to be ready till they finish university, but we heard about the talent, we heard about the skill, and we said, okay, let's bring them in very early and start grooming them in meaningful ways, put them on some major projects and let them get them experience. And that on-the-job training grew the company significantly. So that's why you will see us having a large number, like a 20, but you may have 12 or 14 full-time and then a 6 that is getting ready for the next, you know, for the next, you know, generation. So that's really like always having that succession planning in place, because you can't afford to have the full-time staff.
That is brilliant. And I say it's brilliant, especially for an entrepreneur of your age and stage, to be considering a coaching approach, a talent development approach to building a critical resource in your own business model, which is because talent is a key resource for your business model. So that's brilliant. I love it. I love that. Speaking of which, what kind of coaching or mentoring support did you get, um, or have you, or do you get now? You know, because I was a coach, he's a coach. So is that also something that you get for yourself?
Yeah, I coaching. Whoa,
Mm.
I
Coaching, mentorship. I don't know who.
no, no, I,
We remember yesterday we were talking about the hero's journey, you know, and we were likening entrepreneurship to the hero's journey, and that at the stage where you're developing and taking on the adventure, you may not be as strong, or you may not know your strengths yet and how to navigate this path. And we were talking about having and help someone to help, a mentor, an advisor. So that's what I mean.
yes,
Who
yes,
has been that for
I'm
you?
in agreement. Um, I think coaching has played the most critical role in my life, personally. I've had a lot of coaches, a lot of people along the way believed in me, without even me seeking them out. Like I'll maybe do a speech somewhere, and they'll be like, what do you do? And I'll be like, oh, well, I do in this small business. And I remember one lady said to me, you don't own a small business. Stop saying it, because you will get there. You're a growing business. She said, stop saying you're
Boom.
a small business. I was like, whoa, first,
Yeah.
massive advice. And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, okay, all right. I'm going to change my wording. You say you're a growing business. And the next time I spoke to her and I reached a particular point, she said, no, you're a scaling business. I was like, okay. So every time I felt like I was achieving that goal, she was like, new term. You know,
Mhm.
no, so I moved from a growing business to a scaling business. So she's like, you're scaling across the country now. So your next goal is to do that. And I was like, all right, you know what? So I understand. I have some great coaches in my time. Is this Marcus Richards, one of my big coaches. He actually like saw me very early at the Branson Center and taught me a lot about the basics of running a proper business, and got me in front of a lot of good people just by just the coaching and the mentorship. Um, so understand business very early. Got a lot of coaching from the Branson Center, did a lot of work on me. Gave me a lot of exposure. And that also played a significant role. So as I would say to any young person that is, you know, listening to this live, to understand that coaching will propel you much faster than anything else, you know. But there's a coach that I have that I have a lot of coaches that I've never met. And those coaches are books, right? I know some there are some people that I read that I feel like we are friends because every book that they've written I've read, and the reason for that is that they have molded my thought process, you know. So okay, this is how, so this coaching mindset is some people that I've read and they say, okay, this is how I've grown my company to success, you know, Jack Welch or whoever that did GE. And I was like, okay, this is a very good model that I think I'm going to steal, you know, not even borrow it, I'm going to steal it. I'm going to use it to grow my company. And I have some other coaches along the way that technically I don't think a lot of people know, but I'm a science student and I own a marketing business. So how is it that a science student becomes a marketing entrepreneur? 2011, there was a recession. Jamaica didn't have much jobs. All of science students in my year group didn't get much jobs. So I ended up by design through my leadership skills to pull all my great graphic artist friends and videographer friends and web developer friends and say, hey, this is a beautiful opportunity for all of us to make some money. You know, so that's how business started. So it was opportunistic, not necessarily structured. So I would say to people that sometimes like a time like this, COVID, is like 2011 recession. Maybe your talent is not going to be the talent that's going to do it, but maybe have to pull some people together. But then when you get to that place, you're going to need a coach to get you through there. So I remember there's a coach of mine, Howard, that he taught me marketing. He taught me everything that I know. You know, he worked at a major advertising agency. We were the partner agency for them. And he taught me everything I know. And from that, I was able to take those coachings, those late nights, those training. I took that and I've handed that training down to my team. So I would just say to a lot of people that becoming their best self, you know, I always say to my team, the example I always use is Usain Bolt is a great athlete. You know, he's a wonderful athlete, but people don't remember that, you know, maybe didn't perform so well on some things, maybe the world championship before, but when a great coach, Glenn Mills, came into his life, you can see the development, you can see the coaching, you can see the medals. I don't think Bolt will be the same without Glenn Mills. And I think people need to find their Glenn Mills for their life, you know, because that's a very important role in your development. And I just think people don't give credit to the people that do that. And I think I have to give a lot of credit to the people that have done that for me over the last couple of years.
Wow, wow, that is so impressive and important. Impressive in the sense that um, I really don't know that a lot of young people recognize what you have just said, that you are not an island. And in this day and age, you have to learn how to leverage the network. You know, the network is the strength of your network, as we like to say here at JVDC. We often say that. So I'm really impressed that you have been practicing this from day one. You also mentioned the word mindset that seems to come up in every single conversation I have with entrepreneurs. Mindset, cultivating that mindset, nurturing it with what you put in and who you associate with. You mentioned, hey, I have some people I don't know. Yeah, you're having relationships with people you haven't met, but you feel like you know them because what? You have brought them into your life and began your own relationship with them, and that is just such an easy way for anybody to build themselves up. So I'm just reiterating because I want to make sure the people them get it. Conrad. And yeah, man, and the fact that you talk about that the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Jamaica is expanding, and I think expanding not just in terms of becoming larger in quantity, but I think in quality as well. There's a growth, I don't know, that is there that can be harnessed, and one of our jobs here at JBDC is to help to promote that. It is a whole heap of different sources that are out there to help an entrepreneur, and they don't have to do it by themselves.
Mhm.
So I have another question that I want to ask you about what it is that you have experienced so far that you would say has challenged you the most.
Challenge.
Mhm. Oh, and before I move on, let me tell you, somebody a message just came in on Facebook that says, Kimberly Lecky says, this is so inspirational. I'd love to have this man as my coach. So yes, start get coaching clients already.
Um,
Super. Yeah, on to the
so
challenge. Yeah, what's
challenge,
challenging the most? Yeah.
one the easiest one you can put on the list is managing people. That's one.
Oh yes, true,
Um,
true.
but challenge wise is one of the biggest challenges is adjusting quickly. We had to, we are a small agency, and in Jamaica, there's a lot of challenges where that is concerned when you're small. There
Mhm.
is there is what people say lack of capital will be one, lack of network, there's a lot of things that happen in that space. But for me, one of the things that we I think was really tough for me was early days. I'll start with one of them. One of the biggest challenges was in 2015 thereabout. I lost everything starting this business. About
What you mean
2015,
you lost everything?
we got robbed about 2015, and I lost all my equipment after a major event. It was after, I think it was Contender. It was a team of us were working together, and we lost everything. You know, we got robbed, and I they had all the equipment in a car, and I think they went back in to party, and they came back out. I went back to see them. I went home, and when I came back to see them, I saw the vehicle wide open. And I was like, why is the vehicle wide open? All four doors and the trunk wide open. I just got there. And I went in to say, guys, what's going on? And they were like, yeah, we're fine. We've packed up. We finished working, and the stuff is in the back of the vehicle. I was like, I just left the vehicle. Let's go back outside. And when we went back outside, everybody was in tears because we started that journey about 2013, getting all of those stuff, and we lost it. And then things just start rolling down. You lose that one, you lose something else.
You're talking
Things
about million that for like a couple $1 million worth of equipment. Yeah.
and things will start not going according to plan. From there, and I had to like personally, and this is just from a personal level, I had to move out of a nice townhouse I was living in at the time and live in a small box, you know.
Uh,
And so I just giving people like as it is, I had to
real.
move down, I had to cut down my life, I had staff at the time. We didn't send them home, I had to rebuild. And I think the rebuilding process was what developed me a lot. I had to learn to, rebuild. I had to build a new vision. I had to build a new dream. Um, and then, subsequently to that later that year, I got robbed at gunpoint. So that also like propelled me, like, or later down that year, like it was like a mess. So that robbery happened like May, and then I think it was August. I got robbed at gunpoint at my house, like at the front of my gate, and I got terrified, you know. Like, why I'm working hard, I'm just a young entrepreneur, why is life not working according to plan? And and I was doing okay, I was getting featured in the newspaper, I was getting featured by the Branson Center, I was doing okay. But then I lost it, I started losing everything. And I remember moving from where I was, and it was a very touching point, actually. Moved to an apartment, like a gated apartment, because I was scared. I was scared. And actually, like, I moved in and left everything at my last apartment because I didn't like want anybody to know I was moving, because I was scared. I didn't know if they were tracking me, following me, whatever. So I just moved. I remember the first night I moved there without thinking, no bed, no nothing. I slept on the floor, and I remember sleeping on the floor, and I said, I'm gonna make an impact on the nation, and I'm gonna I'm gonna do something right. I must be doing something wrong. Maybe I am, out there too much. I'm gonna do something. And that's when I said I'm gonna be. I wish I get like the PM award, and I keep telling my friends that I'm gonna be something, and I kept on using that as my way out. And I would say that's 2015 that happened, and by 2017 December I was the Prime Minister Youth Award. So it was a massive transformation, and I thought that was one of my greatest challenges. Like that bounce back was a massive turnaround for me, and I had to be significantly mentally strong and have the right kind of mindset, because after losing all of that, I should have quit.
Yeah, because no people would have said, boy, I will for salt, it's saltness that, maybe it was not on my thing,
I got,
you know?
and I got a lot of that in the time, I got a lot of that. But again, my coaches were like, you're good at what you do. You just hit a bump in the road. It's okay. Stick it out. You're gonna get there. It's gonna happen. It's okay. Just keep going. And then when the PM award happened, I don't know what happened. Like life went like that.
That was the moment, the
That was
signal,
the
the
moment.
shift, to
That was
shift that the direction I shifted.
yeah.
Tell me before we move from here, though, what did you learn about yourself? What was the most compelling learning that you had from that experience about yourself?
Well, one, I needed a lot of self. I needed to make sure I had the right mindset. I needed a goal bigger than myself. I think motivated in that time. I was maybe talented for me.
Yeah.
But at that point, I also learned that the bigger goal and a goal. So I was like a hustler before that point.
Mm,
After that point, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I wanted to make an impact, not just for myself, but for my family and for
yeah.
my friends. And then even worse, so I wanted to do it for my staff. I wanted to be that person that's gonna give them a starting point and tell them, I always tell them and remind them that I've not always been in this good position all the time. I've been down there before. So if they're having a bad time, we connect very well, because I can remind them that, hey, you're going through this, I've been through worse. So purpose, I got a lot of purpose out of that time. One of the lessons is discipline.
Mm.
Discipline was one. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are indisciplined, and my friends, I hope they're not watching, but they cuss them all the time about being indisciplined. I had a friend of mine that he does karate, and he goes to bed at 8 o'clock, and I used to laugh, and he wakes up at 4 every morning, and it used to be the biggest joke, my friend Jeffrey. And but when I was going through my tough time, he was there. So he's like, come to karate with me at 5 o'clock. No, 5 a.m. in the morning. Who is going to karate at 5 a.m. in the morning? And who is going to bed
At
at
8.
8 o'clock at the night? But when I started doing it with him, after I finished karate, I started waking up at 4, because after he's coming to link me at 5. And then by being there at 4, I read a book between him coming, and then I went to karate, and I had nothing else to do. And I was just peace of mind. It was just an activity to clear my mind, and thoughts start coming. And after karate, I used to write down things that I want to do. I didn't know I was going through what I would say rehab. I was saying to him at the time. It was a rehab of the mind. So I would say that. And then something that I coined for my team, I call it the 3 E's, is like, I said, guys, we're going to work on exposure, experience, and education. That's how we're going to develop as a person. You're going to improve. We're going to expose ourselves to a lot of things. We're going to improve through education. We're going to learn as much. It doesn't have to be formal. And we're going to get as much experience as possible. So you don't have to always make money. If you feel like you're getting exposure or experience, you call it a win. Worse, if you're getting mentorship, that's education. That's also part of education. So figure out which one of these buckets you're getting value from in your development. And that's how I kept writing that as a chart. I saw it from this guy named some Mind Valley thing. I saw this activity I was reading, Vision. And he said, these are the 3 parts that you need to develop on. And I remember in that time watching a lot of those videos. And that is where I would say to a lot of entrepreneurs like myself that lesson is not just be complacent with the talent, the raw talent that you have, but go out there and get some new education, go out there and get some new experience, expose yourself to a lot of things. Um, and that could develop you much faster than you think, by more than depending on yourself. And that was one of the major lessons out of that period.
Oh my God. And I'm me raising me feel so proud. I mean, like that is just so beautiful what you said. Brittany saying, "Wow, she's happy you didn't give up after that," and Kimberly saying that's so visionary, and it's true. I'm so proud of the way you have processed your journey and how you said at the time you thought you were just you think you thought of yourself as just talent, and then you found your why, you found your purpose, and that biggerness is
Yeah.
what kept you going and has continued to propel you since. I love it. I love that. And exposure, improve experience, boom, boom. It's like a form. That's a formula.
Yeah, it's
It's a
something
formula.
it's something we use internally to give people that kind of insight. People need some direction.
Direction. Yes.
Need
Yes.
something. They need a model to follow. You know, I always say to people, there's a vision board, right? A lot of people have vision boards. I
Right.
don't believe in vision boards because I think a lot of people in Jamaica have been around. They have a lot of vision, but they don't know. They don't have a journey board. They don't know how they're gonna get there. And
Ooh.
what we need to figure out as a person is that we need to figure out our journey board. And I think that exposure, experience, and education is the journey to that vision. So maybe you coin it and say, this is what I want to achieve, but what education do I need to get to get
Yeah.
to that journey, to get to that point?
Mhm.
What exposure do I need to do to get to that point? What experience do I need to get to that point? That is where we mess up as a nation. We don't show how to get there. We say, go get a vision. Okay, I'm going to be the best footballer in the world. Okay, how do I get there? And I think that's what we need to start training from a mindset point standpoint, from a critical thinking standpoint, is to say, I want this for myself, but how do I get there? And that's a
Yeah.
very important journey point that we need to be working through as a nation.
Love that. It's both individual and national. You're so absolutely right about that. Um, what is your definition of success?
Happy, meaningful relationship.
Yeah.
Meaningful relationship is my definition of success. You know, meaningful relationship with my family, meaningful relationship with my team, meaningful relationship with my friends, my clients. That has been the most important value point for me. When I do that successfully, I get rewarded in different ways. I get rewarded through money. I get rewarded through love. I get rewarded through happiness. I get rewarded through fun, but that's not the aim.
Um,
What my greatest aim is to figure out my meaningful relationship points, and then there is an after effect of doing it.
Ooh.
But it's much
Say
more
that
important.
again. Say that again. I love it. Say it again.
Just the point, it's just a true point for me that meaningful relationship is the number one priority. And that is
Awesome.
where I think through it to say, okay, when I give meaningful relationship to people, I always get that after effect. And
Yeah.
it comes in many ways. It comes through money, it comes
Yeah.
through loyalty, it comes through love, it comes through fun. But if we prioritize money over meaningful relationships, then when the money goes, you have nothing.
True. You know, what you just described is what Jim Rohn, the father of, personal development nowadays. Yes. He said the pursuit of a worthy goal. And what is more worthy than having meaningful relationships? As you said, it gives you everything that you could possibly want as a person, the reward.
So
Beautiful.
there are after effects to it, and I love Jim Rohn as well.
You know,
Uh,
yes, 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 would you?
so, but the important part is, I think, what we have done and recognize that is the core purpose. If you realize, I didn't share it, but the meaningful relationship is what we want our clients to remember. That is the
Mm,
fact. And when we go into our team, our vision plays the same part. So our vision is, well, our values is that one, we want to be a place that clients love to work with, right? We want to be a place, you know, our competitors admire. We say something like that. We say we want to be a place that staff hate to leave. And we want to be a place that is a good citizen to the community, right? All of those things, you have to have meaningful relationships to achieve them.
You can't fake that.
You can't fake it. And what that time, that downtime told me is that, you know, when I was down, you know, it was the relationships that brought me out. And I said to myself, you know, I'm going to make this my life purpose. And then I turned my personal life purpose in my company purpose. So when I feel like I don't want to do it anymore, per se, my team kind of makes sure that I'm reminded that, hey, the reason we are doing this is because we want to achieve these kind of goals. So for me, it's just much bigger to me now. And you will start off, many entrepreneurs, if you're listening, you will start off without a purpose, I'm sure. Not everybody will start there, but I'm saying don't stop there. You must find it at some point, either for yourself or for your company.
Yeah, you can start off hustling, but don't stay there.
Don't stay there. Yeah.
Don't stay there. I love that. I love that. You talk about vision. What's your vision for Pixel Perfect?
Which one?
What's the ultimate
One.
success looks like for it?
Which one? All right. Well, we have a, well, we want to be a regional company. We want to either IPO or get private investment very soon, hopefully. Keeping our fingers crossed that we'll continue to perform well. But we want to be a regional brand that's going to bring Caribbean brands online. That's what we want. We want to bring more Jamaican brands online so that they can take advantage of this global phenomenon. And that's part of our, you know, the ethos of what we are trying to do. That's our big audacious goal. And then to achieve that, I think we're gonna need that kind of investment, maybe next up, maybe that's our next big target. And we want to make sure that we are a regional company, both in talent and in reach. So our strategic plan is to kind of get ourselves in the region as a major player. And then after that, we can look at some new markets. Maybe Canada. Maybe Canada.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to tell you to think about it from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
As an entrepreneur, tell me what do you think can be the top 3 or 5, if you want to go up there, characteristics that define the successful entrepreneur? Or just define entrepreneur. I think the term successful entrepreneur kind of redundant, because if you're an entrepreneur, you're a winner because it means you don't stop. So what defines an entrepreneur for you?
So I used it before. So most persons that define themselves as an entrepreneur are not entrepreneurs. They are businessmen, and they're business minded. And and I believe only half of a corporation or an entity or a company is about the typical parts of what we call business, which is make a profit and make money or revenues and profits, right? It's much bigger than that. I've now come to recognize. And one of the things I would say to a successful entrepreneur, that being an entrepreneur is much bigger than making money. I would just want to start there, right? When I was going through the Brands Center, the first week of training, they taught us something. They call it people, planet, and profit model.
Yes.
It's like, you cannot pitch to us if you don't have those 3 buckets. And we had to pitch like regularly. So we're like brainwashed into the thinking that we must be thinking of people, planet, and profit. And I would just want to say a successful entrepreneur If it's personally, if you want to understand it personally, I think it's somebody that thinks a lot about his people. So I would say a true entrepreneur is coach-like. They leverage the skills of their people. They are not necessarily always the brightest person in the room. They must value the opinions and talents that are around them. They must feel comfortable with people being better than them in their company.
Ooh.
They must be comfortable with that, which means they must have the ego to run the company because they're going to need that. But they must have the composure to know when to push somebody up or push somebody in front when the time is when the time is right. And I think I've seen too many times where leader the boss mentality trumps leadership.
Mm.
Leadership sometimes require you to be a shepherd and be at the back and lead and let the people go in front and you protect. But I think as a thing for entrepreneur, and I've showed the definition that people expect from what I would expect from me, they're not going to hear it. Because to me, it's the entrepreneur itself is, as I say, it's a person that's going to leverage talent. It's not necessarily this big um, strong-willed person that's out there that has the biggest face and strongest talk and the sweetest lyrics and can get everybody to believe in them. That's a part of it. But the part that's going to make you scale and grow to a very important point is that you have to be able to leverage resources outside yourself internally. And that's a very important point. But then I would say to a successful entrepreneur is that you must have a vision and you must have a business that is centered around accountability. Very important. There's no way to have a vision without accountability. And it's very important that we get to that point where you get this vision out, you're not hands off, you find the right people to work with you, but then you hold them accountable. So for me personally, we have a management meeting once a week. And everybody has a scorecard. What are the 4 things that you are going to achieve as a manager this month? What's the people goal? What's the revenue goal? What's the staff goal? What's the people goal? What's the client goal? What is it? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And you make sure that it's tied to that bigger vision. And that's the only way we are going to get to this high level of scalable companies in this country. We have too many, as I say, hustling mentality where we offer a service and we offer a service, we have no structures in place, we have no goals, we have no targets, and there's no level of accountability. And I would just say to everybody that that's a very important part. And then the final part for me that I've learned lately as I started to grow, certain things that used to work when it was 3 of us don't work now. I used to quarrel and ask, I used to I want to figure out if I should blame the people or blame myself. But that's a process problem. And I think those are some of the things you need to start figuring out. How am I going to do this when I have 20 people? How am I going to do this when it's 30 people? So say for me, I sign off on bills. I used to sign bills any day or sign off on payments any day of the week. But what if one day I have meetings like this and interviews and I forget to pay a very important supplier? Could cause a problem. So it needs a process. So is it that you say every Friday morning you sign off on payments? Is it that is every Thursday? Is it that, all bills must come to you for approval on Tuesdays? But it's to scale a business, it's a little bit more than being talented. And that's why I want to say to an entrepreneur that the only way to get to that level is through proper coach-like mentality, a vision that is tied to accountability, and a process to match the vision to take advantage of the execution that's going to be necessary for that success that you want to see.
Wow. It's a whole heap of answer that you give me, well, Conrad. That That I'm like digesting it. That was so powerful. I'm happy that this is being recorded because I myself want to go back to listen to some of that. That ego, having the ego to run the company, but the composure to be able to lead from the back to shepherd your team. That, that's profound. That is so profound, and I think such a very a very good way of describing um, not just a good leader, but um, someone who can carry out and execute a vision. And that's the cusp of entrepreneurship. Love that. So many different points that you mentioned. Um, as it relates to, I asked you yesterday to think about what you think is your own superpower, what is your biggest strength. But I think I'm going to ask you the opposite. What do you think is your weakest trait as an entrepreneur?
Weakness.
Yeah.
Um, where do I start?
No, man, just no, give me the book or receipt.
Come
Just
on, come on.
the one that you find to be your biggest challenge, the thing that, boy, it better I don't do this any at all.
Well, because I grew up in the company, it took a while to let go of a lot of things. You
Mhm.
know, I know all the roles in the company. I know a lot of the things that needs to happen, and I think one of the greatest points that I need to learn is letting go. You know, I
I
need
think
to,
of control.
yeah, letting go of control was one that I had to learn. I think I've learned it, and I think my leadership team, I feel the difference now. Because it was something that I didn't do very well because, when you know it and you are, it becomes your baby, but there's a point in your business journey that your company needs to stop being your baby and becoming your family or your team, where it's no longer something that you alone can manage. It's something that you need to know that is going to be a group of coaches that's going to help. There's no great football team or basketball team with one coach. There's a coach for fitness and there's a coach for, defense and one for attack. So there are different coaches that have different skills. And I think that was something that I didn't do early enough in business and I had to do, I had to learn. So letting go and getting people that are qualified to be assistant coaches or along with me would be a lesson I should have applied very early, but I didn't. So I'm learning from it now, and hopefully I continue to do so as I go along.
Wonderful. All right, so we have about 5 minutes left to wrap up. I'm going to ask you some quick questions that I want you to give some quick answers to.
Sure.
And I'm going to start with a fun one. Um, describe yourself as, if you were to describe yourself as a color or an animal, what color or animal? You don't have to be the two of them, anyone. Which one would it be? Pick one.
Eagle, eagle,
Eagle. Yes.
for sure. They don't settle. They don't eat dead things. They see very far. They are visionaries. They stick very high. They have a very high standard. So eagle for me for sure.
All right. What is the last book that you read?
Trillion Dollar Coach.
Trinidad Dollar Coach. Who write that?
It's by Eric Schmidt,
Okay.
CEO of Google.
Okay. And what are your top 5 books that you'd recommend to persons listening?
Compound Effect for discipline.
Yes, I love that.
Scaling
Which
up
one?
for discipline.
Oh, that's Darren, right?
Yeah. Scaling up for structure. Um, Let me give a people book. Oh, Legacy for Culture.
Mhm.
So you're gonna hear some really weird books here. Um, Shadow one, that's 3. I think those are key. Maybe Emotional Intelligence 2.0 for those who need to understand.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel. Mm-hmm.
I think those are some core books to start. And maybe a money book, maybe financial intelligence.
Ooh. All right, so I'm gonna tell the people them who write the book them so them can find it easy. So financial intelligence, who's the author of that one?
The author, the financial intelligence. But I remember I can give you the
Oh, we
other.
can Google. That's all right. I know compound effect is Darren Hardy.
Yeah.
And he said that's for discipline. The man even categorize them for people. And scaling up,
Vernie Harnish.
Vernia Harnish,
Mhm.
and legacy.
Legacy. I do remember Legacy clearly.
Okay, all right, we'll Google those. But these sounds like really interesting ones. I find at least one, two, three in there that I think I might add to my list of things to read. Because that's one of the super what I said uh like this is like we have not kryptonite. What is it? The superpower, like the super builder
Yes.
spinach. Yeah, so reading is to entrepreneurs what spinach is to Popeye.
Yeah. Yes. It's James
Right?
Carr. James Carr for Legacy.
Who?
James James Carr
James Carr.
for Legacy.
Got it. All right. Um, so what is I gonna ask you though? So I mean, let me give you the opportunity, but we're gonna have 2 minutes to close. What do you want to say to wrap up? To you've said so much in terms of nuggets and valuable points for potential entrepreneurs. Um, but is there anything that you would like to say? Oh, I'm getting whole heap of feedback for you, Conrad.
Good.
Wow. Let me read some of them for you. Um, Kimberly was saying I'd invest in them. I've seen IPP tracks record. I'm not sure what she was saying. Someone is saying exemplary, so many positive things. Thanks so much for sharing your journey. Excellent value proposition. Excellent mentor. Somebody else saying mentor. Okay. And somebody said, go Team Eagles.
Maybe a
Right.
team.
Yeah. You have a minute. What do you want to say to the people?
Well, I just say for everybody, now is the best time to be an entrepreneur. It's never
Mm,
a time to be an entrepreneur. The greatest times to be an entrepreneur is a time of adversity. So just be open.
why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Just because there's an opportunity to solve a problem. There's an opportunity. There's so many problems right now going on that can be solved, that needs to be solved, and somebody needs to fix it.
Yeah.
And it so instead of thinking about the fact that everybody is locked in, figure out what people when they're locked in, what they need to do, and then provide that solution at that point. So I think it's very important that people don't sit at home worrying about being locked in, but saying, I'm in, what do I need? A friend of mine said, oh, I'm gonna start a barber thing in a bus, or I'm gonna do something, and he's gonna drive around and trim people here. And I was like, what? The value point is, think
Yeah.
of,
Yeah. And it don't hurt to try some things new, right?
yeah, man.
You don't have to be successful at everything, but yeah, it will never be successful at anything if you don't try something.
Yeah, man.
So,
So I think it's very valuable that you go, and you just take a chance. And I would just say to everybody, now is the best time personally as well to love a lot of people, and share some very important love and kindness to people at this time, because, and even as a business, it's going to be very important that you share that, because your business may get to separate itself by just doing that little thing.
mhm,
When COVID comes back out, people are going to remember that you were the company that was kind, gracious. You're flexible as well with your customers. You're understanding. You give them payment terms. You kind of find ways to help them.
mhm,
One of the big things for us is that we have been helping our customers come up with problems that we can't even solve. But we tell them that this is the answer. Go find a partner to do it. We don't do that. But we saw this as an opportunity. Go do it. You can
mhm.
make some money from it.
Wow.
And it will remind them that we are here with them. So we call ourselves an agency partner, so
Wow.
I hope everybody appreciate the conversation that we had today. And you know I would
I
just
sure did. I sure do appreciate it, Conrad. It has been really, really, really good talking with you. Thank you so much for coming on to the entrepreneur's journey this afternoon for our first lunchtime chat. I hope everybody was out there snacking and listening. And just to remind the viewers who are here with us, whether you're catching us live right now or you're viewing us later on a recording, the JBDC has quite a bit of knowledge sharing material that we have been either broadcasting and streaming or having in terms of Zoom that we have made sure to be compiling and storing it online and on all our social media platforms. So you'll be able to find stuff on uh, the Facebook, you'll find stuff on our YouTube pages about the virtual biz zone sessions that we've been having weekly and the JBDC in concert series that we've been having and the entrepreneur's journey. So you can go there. There's lots of stuff to peruse right now. A lot of learnings and don't just watch them people, act on them. Take, if it's even one thing, take something and act on it because nothing will come from you just digesting. What did you say, Conrad? Exposure is you watching. So I'm a quick learner, you know.
Yes, yes.
Exposure would be you watching. Improving is actually digesting, processing something, and then extracting it. And the experience is where you will apply either a few things or at least one thing such that you are a better person, a better entrepreneur at the end of this. And we're here to support you. Have a good afternoon, have a good weekend, and see you next week. See you next time for another good conversation. We'll talk, Conrad. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.